Let me welcome you officially to the third edition of the Aerospace and Defence Awards 2015. The awards have been instituted to applaud and appreciate the excellence in the aerospace industry and celebrating the people and the technology behind the same. No awards is complete without the jury that presides over it, and we had an amazing jury that presided over the Aerospace and Defence Awards 2015. So let me just carve out the few names of the jury members, some of whom are already present here. Retired Air Chief Marshal Fali Homi Major, who's present here with us. The next jury member is retired Major General Dipankar Banerjee, Mentor, Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies. The next jury member that I have with us is Mr. Abhay Bhargava, who is the Director, Petrotel Inc. and the alumnus of IIT Kanpur. I would also just like to mention one more member from our esteemed jury, and that is retired Admiral Suresh Mehta, PVSM and AVSM. Before we move on, let me also just call on stage Mr. Trilok Desai, the MD and publisher of SAP Media Worldwide Limited, to say a few words.
At the outset, let me welcome you to the third edition of Aerospace and Defence Awards 2015. Apart from recognizing companies and technologies, we will also be awarding individuals for their outstanding achievements and contribution to the industry. There are various categories of awards today, and this includes awards for the commitment of innovation, technological excellence, programs for indigenization, solid performance and demonstration of leadership, all accomplished with attention to cost, schedule, armed forces requirements, and reliability. And one thing that we are particularly proud of is the judging process, which continues to be robust, a process based on multi-tier evaluation and criteria. Like all awards, not all may have made it this year, but hopefully this will be a learning curve for the future. The Indian aerospace industry today is on the threshold of entering a new era where it will assume the key role in making the nation self-reliant in defense production as it plays alongside with major international players. The resurgence of India's manufacturing sector has truly been remarkable, and many Indian firms are visible on the global stage and becoming transnational companies, and we are proud to be associated with this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Desai, for those words. Now moving on, I would like to call upon Dr. K. Tamilmani, Distinguished Scientist and Director General, DRDO Aero Division, to say a few words.
I thought on this occasion I'll talk a little more about what we have achieved and what is ahead of us. Last 3 decades, particularly probably the last 2 decades specifically, we have seen multiple aerospace technologies have been generated, validated, readily available. You take the LCA, some of the 4+ generation technologies are there now with us, proven. It was a real pain whenever I read, whenever somebody makes a statement. It is not only me, there is Dr. Kota sitting here. Somebody makes a statement that comparing us with the international products, saying that LCA has delayed. Many of you are here aware the day on which we started LCA, what we were. The earlier biggest project which we handled is HPD-32, push-pull rod technology. Many of us didn't even know what is fly-by-wire, glass cockpit, carbon fiber. Today, we know everything. In fact, the safety record of the prototype, that 14 prototypes flying, will clearly tell us that we are great leaders in aircraft design development, compared to many other programs happen anywhere. IJT, ALH also has given enough of technologies. UAV we have done very well. Unfortunately, we started late, but today the technology is available. Whether it's a launch technology, waypoint navigation, data linking, we have everything with us now. Future products to whatever level it is required, it is possible for us to do. Now, with the multiple requirements or product requirements coming from the defense services, the current method of working may not be appropriate. Today, we have seen the potential from the private industry. We have seen them supporting the international organization, the design development, and eventually in the production line as well. It is appropriate to integrate the private agency as a partner and productionize the product which has been developing. Today, we are now initiated a step. I think LCA Mark II is going to have a big team of the private industry on the detailed design and drawing release. From there, we are going to move to the private industry. For 11 modules, we are going to get it from the private industry. This is the first step we are taking with the trying to move into a different approach altogether. I hope we will succeed, but the productionization part of it, we need to work together, because the industry as well as the design agency, if they have to work together to make the product realizable in modules and bring in a concept called lead integrator, which is nothing new, which is happening in the civil aeronautical industry anywhere else. The lead integrator gets the modules from everywhere, whether it's Renton in Seattle or Toulouse. You can see only the modules coming from different countries as well. And today this is feasible. If it's followed that route, then only we can get the numbers required and the quality which is essential for getting it. Automobile industry is successfully doing it in India. We should also follow this method. Otherwise, we will not be able to meet the requirement of 800 helicopters requirement in the number of years. With the 22 numbers which we are producing this year, I think 800 helicopter requirement or the 200, close to 200 LCAs cannot be met in the time frame which you are talking. By the time the product becomes outdated. Another very important aspect which I talked yesterday also, government should come out a methodology for us to have the nomination from the private industry for working on the specific modules. So we have been repeatedly requesting, give a methodology or a approach road for us to say nomination basis, so and so for this particular purpose, based on their capabilities, stability, facilities, all such things. If the government of India supports us, I think we will definitely be succeeding in the process. Today, we need to bring in a concept of appropriate project management, which will flag and also give at times immediately this milestone slippages will cause this much of delay in the final delivery, and this will be the additional effect on expenditure. This has to come in the process, otherwise we will not be able to succeed well. Thank you very much again.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have a very, very power-packed and distinguished panel. Currently, we seem to be all working in watertight compartments. There is the Ministry of Defense. There are the 3 armed forces. We have an ex-air chief here. And then there is the scientific community, and there is the industry outside. And everyone's looking to the other person to really spell out what is the roadmap? Where are we going to go? What do we need to do? Who should come in at what stage? Have we lost precious time in it? Are we using the long-term perspective planning to actually have a long-term perspective plan, or we are operating from void to void? So I'd start with the Air Chief Marshal, sir.
Thank you, Maruf. I go back to that very old debate which started all this, and that is, does military doctrine drive technology, or is it the other way around? Till such time the country has a total military capability spectrum laid out, it is very difficult to go ahead. But let me also add that armed forces around the world, and I dare say even many advanced nations like the United States of America or the UK or others, their military modernization process is willy-nilly the same as what we are doing. Perhaps there would be a difference in the scale, in the magnitude, in the monies involved and costs to the nation. But I think we are on the right track. And as we go along, we will find that there will be complexities, and therefore a very nuanced approach to modernization is required.
Dr. Nair, I want to ask you, that what the Air Chief is alluding to what extent has your experience been a happy one in terms of the strategic wisdom and the vision that comes out from service headquarters, and within which we build in an acquisition plan, or having really been a key provider to the Indian Air Force, do you feel that at most stages you were working in a void yourself? You were not getting the information that you needed to channelize your steam and your energies in the correct direction? And equally importantly, do you feel that there is a long-term perspective plan that we are working towards?
There has been a lot of interaction. There has been communication between the armed forces and the defense industries. It is not one vision where the technologies and industries will say, this is what we can give, this is what we have made, you take it. Or from the other side, no, this is what we need, because the technology, they scan the whole field in the whole world and say, this is the kind of thing we want. So we draw up a program together. I think to a large extent there has been partnership between the defense industries, the government, and the armed forces. What probably has not happened is the kind of approach, the different approach to the indigenous design industry as compared to when we want to buy from outside.
There is a view also that really make in India or made in India, something that you control the intellectual property rights, not all technology that has been transferred to India. You have achieved exceptional success with BrahMos. How have you been able to surpass that? Was it at the contract stage or was it at a later stage? What were the issues that worked on your mind, and how did you overcome the limitation that some other industries face?
Sometimes I feel the secret lies in the genesis of BrahMos. The joint venture was created with an idea that we would make the world's best supersonic missile. And we had just engine ready, partially ready with Russians. They had no money to make a missile around it. Fortunately, we grabbed the opportunity, and DRDO invested money and came out with a product, which very fortunately was allowed by Indian Navy to be tested from their platform. So they became a kind of stakeholder. See, the whole story is about stakeholders. The stakeholders have to be on board. Coming to your point, there are two kinds of IPR, background IPR and what you prepare. So the background IPR, nobody would share with you. We created a BrahMos IPR by using our resources, using the IPR created by DRDO and our Russian partner, NPO Mashinostronia. And this product became so much hit with the services that later Indian Navy decided to put it on all their frontline ships, total 30 numbers. Indian Army ordered 3 regiments, 3 more are in the pipeline. Indian Air Force also ordered in some numbers.
And I believe you're getting orders from South Korea also.
I will not talk about export. It's for government of India to decide.
I want to take up your one point which struck me, and I want Mr. Pratish Kumar from Boeing to throw light on that. Your BrahMos deal worked with the Russians because Russia needed money. What happens with Boeing, which doesn't need money? How do you then go in for a partnership? How do you then go in for a relationship where your potential technology partner is not hard up on finances? Are they then going to toe your line? I'd like you to throw light, sir.
Always looking for opportunities to be more competitive and offer that more capability for less. And therefore, we're constantly looking for partners around the world. And I think therein lies the opportunity to work with partners in India. We have a history of working very closely with partners in India, including from HAL. We work very closely with DRDO. Dr. Mani was very closely involved with one of the platforms that India bought, P8I. Very thankful for the great support we got from him, tremendous capability. So it's not just money which buys you partnership. It's also competitiveness and our ability to go search for more to deliver to our customers.
Has that been your experience, sir? You represent another element of industry where it's important for us to understand where you feel are the stumbling blocks and where you feel we should move fast forward.
Defense technologies, aerospace technologies are where you need capabilities. Whoever has the capability needs to be promoted and brought brought on, and we need to have a national vision of doing it. I will just go back, and I will go back to 1998, when India had to, we were under sanctions after the Pokhran, and many programs which are world class were launched at that point of time, including the nuclear submarine Ariant, which came in about 7-8 years. Fantastic capability for the country. It was a public-private partnership. If you look at any of the DRDO programs which have come in and have got inducted, they are all public-private partnerships. The moment you, because we have our strengths, public sector has its strengths, DRDO has its strengths, India has its strength. The moment you cut that strength out and you start to then create these artificial blockages, which unfortunately the kind of procurement management and MOD we have, it is just inbuilt. The conflict of interest is inbuilt into that whole process.
Understood. Mr. Patel, now do you feel, even if we are willing to take people in, or even if companies like yours, Larsen & Toubro, which are big boys in defense manufacturing in India, want to enter in, you are probably going to be looking at entering in technology level 4, right? So therefore, the earlier phases that is achieved, now is that acceptable to you too? Because there are people from L&T I've met who feel they can design things from scratch, right? And the second thing is that if you were to come in at that stage, then does the PSU, say DRDO hypothetically, is willing to accommodate you to be able to enter at that stage? So let's have your views.
There's some technologies which you just cannot buy and they'll just not come. The IP will just not come. And there's no alternative but to do them yourselves. Make in India is a reality, and that's something which is a need of a country. If we keep doing from a grassroots level, we'll continue that number one importer in the world for a long time. And that's exactly where I see very clearly relationship with respect to the foreign major has to be equal eye to eye. It cannot be that I actually, as a foreign OEM, gives a finger to someone saying that that guy is there, I look for his compatibility, let him come up, thereafter he can come up to my level. No, it genuinely, these are relationships which can come up if we trust the guy whom we are talking about is competent, the guy whom we are talking about is having those capabilities, we obviously can make things happen. And there are again examples within Larsen & Toubro product ranges. 18 months, state-of-the-art, best of the world product actually can come up.
Okay. Ekundo Malhotra, you are heading a team of 150 people, and you are helping with the Su-30 program and also pilotless target hitting aircrafts. Do you feel all that has been said, you are in sync with it, or do you have some different views?
No, I fully agree with what has been said. The thing is this, that no matter which company you take, I mean, you know, they would not like to transfer, when you talk about transfer of technology, actually they don't transfer the core technologies to the country. And I think recently, in the case of the DTTI, where we are going to co-produce and co-develop this new UAV, which is going to be called the Cheel in India, is something that perhaps the MOD is now wanting to come to a stage. In fact, there was a questionnaire that these guys had to fill up to say that are they going to just allow the Indian partner to make just the outside shell and keep all the intelligent the stuff with themselves, or is it going to be transferred to the country? And they've had to turn down and say that yes, we will transfer everything to the country.
Can I go to Dr. Kota Harinarayanan? Sanctions and sanction regime allowed us to develop world-class missiles because of strategic sanctions. Did sanctions on the aircraft program also energize you into going into a sort of a more aggressive mode of planning and preparation and final delivery, or did you feel stunted? Because I remember hearing some HAL, the LCA program scientists talking in the city some years ago that you were at the final stage of air tunnel testing when the Pokhran test took place. And at that stage, you were returned back from the US, and that had a huge delay backlog on your program. Can you explain that further?
It's true. When we were working together, the sanction came. There was a delay. But the delay led to a situation where we developed everything. Otherwise, we would have done partly, and other party would have done. Today, we have a total control of the whole thing. While it did lead to a delay of about 15 months, but it led to a situation we have total control. The so-called IP, what you are talking, as far as LCA is concerned, we have 100% IP.
Can I have the BrahMos chief's view? Does this really work in your case? Because yours is one of the success stories right now everyone's talking about. How's it worked with you?
You look, in defense equipment, I would like to say that India must develop capability to do the system design and mission software, because these are the most important skeletons. You can build anything around it. You have to just put a flesh, which is available anywhere in the market. And all of us know that no country in the world is self-sufficient as far as the defense equipment design, development, delivery, production, integration is concerned. It's just not possible, not feasible, economically and scientifically both. So as long as India can develop system design capability, we should be happy and we should feel that we have achieved the Make in India objectives.
If I may just throw up in about 30, 40 seconds, few closing bullet points. One is that we must build up further our technology base based on some of our design capabilities that already exist and strengthen them. We've exhibited that with missiles, the LCA, the MBT, the ATV. We can exhibit more. The second point is that indigenization will give us a design capability, and that needs to be built up so that we can then control the IP, not the IPR, but we must have the IP in our favor, because joint ventures do have their limitations. Joint ventures cannot give us the final secrets that the OEM holds on to. And we have to, we have to start planning now. And I think the biggest problem, which we all know, and the Air Marshal could throw more light on it over the cup of tea, that the services need to get their act together, because the services are operating from crisis to crisis. One crisis gets over, they manage to order weapon systems, they're back into a next crisis mode. So that crisis to crisis mode, and what has clearly come out in terms of our aircraft fleet not being operational to even 70%, forget 85%, is something we need to worry about. And finally, I wish to thank all of you, the distinguished panelists and all the guests who've been patient enough to sit through this panel, and the distinguished panelists who, at least for me and for many of us here, have thrown a lot of light. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give them a good hand.